How do you create a grocery list in 2020 when the grocery stores at times have been very unreliable? Hey everybody, it's Allison Schaaf, Prep Dish founder, and I created a video earlier, well I guess it was last year, on creating a grocery list, and with everything going on I thought it would be fun to do a quick little update and modification on that, on how do you create a grocery list, or do you create a grocery list when grocery stores might still be unreliable? So I've been trying to keep tabs. I run a meal planning site, so I have, subscribers from all over the country and world, and trying to keep tabs on what people have access to. And it's so different for everyone, and it can vary not only week to week, but even day to day, or depending on what time of the store you're going grocery shopping. But I just thought I'd talk through a few strategies that might come in handy right now when you can't necessarily write a list, go into the store, and expect to find everything that's on that list. My number one strategy would be, don't make a grocery list. Go in, but with the caveat, don't go in just randomly panic buying. So you don't want to get random things. You don't want to, and by random I mean things that you're not going to use or need. So you may not go in with a list of specific items, but maybe it's a list of items from categories, or maybe even list out the number, like, okay, I know that throughout the week we need X pounds of meat, so just buy, this many pounds of protein while I'm there. Sorry, this is my cat. And same thing goes for produce. So maybe you're not going to go in and have a specific list of the produce, but you know that throughout the week you need, X number of produce. Well, if it's 7 meals, actually 14 meals for the week, and you want a different produce item, or that like some of them will last 2 meals for your family, then maybe hey, if I get like a dozen different like things of veggies, that lasts us long enough. And then same thing with starches, which might include grains and or some starchy vegetables like potatoes and sweet potatoes. So go in with more an idea of how many items you need per category versus like a list of specific items. So in the beginning we did a lot of that, and also kind of knowing like items that would kind of help stretch things. So freezer and pantry items like beans and frozen veggies and things like that we knew once we got closer to our next shopping trip we could stretch things out. So that was kind of the strategy in the beginning. Now grocery stores here in Texas have been a lot more reliable. Like they're actually not quite back, but pretty much. And in the polling and survey I've been doing, some people are still struggling, so I totally recognize that, but I know a lot of places are getting more reliable, so thank goodness. And most people are able to use their Prep Dish meal plans again. I know we took a few weeks off here at our house, but now we're back using them without a problem. But we do have a different strategy for grocery shopping, because we still want to like try and limit our trips to the grocery store. So what we're doing is we are shopping the Prep Dish list, which is kind of that week, but then we're pairing it with additional items that are kind of like what I mentioned earlier, of just like certain number of foods from categories, but really those items that we know can stretch and last longer. So things like potatoes, winter squashes, onions, sweet potatoes, beans, grains, all of frozen items, all of those, so that we can do the Prep Dish meals for the first week, like half of the week or week, and then from there add on these other items. And the way I approach that is I go in, so I have the meal plan for the Prep Dish items, but then that second batch of groceries that we're buying, I do the meal plan after the grocery shopping, which is nothing I've ever really recommended anyone do, but in this case it really works well. My husband is also doing all of the shopping, so I'm not going in and shopping, so it makes it a little trickier because he does like to have a list, and I can't really in my mind, I can't transfer what I have in my mind of what we need. I'm pregnant right now too, so like I really don't want to be going in and doing the grocery shopping. Otherwise I would probably be the designated shopper in our family. So yeah, we're doing the Prep Dish, and then after with whatever else he buys, and whatever else he feels like will help stretch us through, I come up with a second meal plan. So I do jot down ideas, and I have a list of how we're going to kind of put all those meals together. And really, even if it's not if you I don't know when you want to make the meal plan, but even just writing down the items that you know you need to use first. So I have a little calendar. I think I've showed it in another video, like a whiteboard, and I use that. And sometimes if I don't have the meal, I'll just say like, okay, the next meal we need to use that Swiss chard because it's going to go bad. And so then for that next meal, I know the items that I need to use before they get bad, and then you can just throw in other things to kind of help it, like those freezer and pantry things can be thrown in at any time. But any of the fresh produce, I definitely like outline like what days we need to eat those by, just so nothing really is going to waste. So that might be helpful right now for you to kind of do like, the initial thing that you have a plan for, but then have other items that you create the plan as you go. Another thing that's been really helpful for us to help with the grocery shopping is to use a lot of online ordering. So a lot of those places have done fine through all of this. And I've talked about these in past videos, but things like Butcher Box and US Wellness Meats for my meat orders, those have stayed on track. I think maybe US Wellness Meats was delayed by a few days one week, but for the most part, we've been able to get everything. Butcher Box stopped taking on new customers, but if you're an existing customer, we have not missed a shipment there. And then Thrive for my pantry items, we have had a few weeks where we struggled getting our Thrive order, but it always comes back eventually. So you just kind of have to keep tabs on that. And then Dry Farm Wine would be another great one right now. I can't, no wine for me right now, but believe if I weren't pregnant, that would be one that I would make sure I was not pausing on. But right now we do have ours on pause. So those might also help. I'll include links to all of these in the video below. I'd also be curious to hear from you, like how you've been handling it. Has it changed the way obviously it's changed the way everyone's grocery shop. That's a silly question, but has it, changed the way that you approach planning your meals and all of that? And if you have any good strategies below, I'm not going to go through strategies in terms of like grocery delivery and pickup because that varies so much store to store. But we were doing that, and we had to stop because it was 2 weeks out that we were having to order. And it was so unreliable that finally just sending my husband in person was the only way to get groceries. But in your area, if you're able to do delivery or drop off or pick up, the curbside pickup, do that. And there are some strategies there. Just get on local boards and see is there a better time of day to put in your order? Because I know for most places there are better times. So you might want to play around with some of that too. But good luck. Find Prep Dish on social media. I'm at Prep Dish on Instagram. I have a Facebook group, actually. I'll link that below, but that's really helpful. And I'm in all those places, so I'd love to talk more about this and hear kind of how you were doing. I will also link that video on how to create a grocery list. So it's usually helpful. It probably will be. Hopefully, then things will start getting better in your area, and you can just use that one in the future. But I thought it might be good to just check in today and give some updated strategies given the current situation. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. And I apologize for the roosters. I'm trying to enjoy these videos and the weather and shoot them outside. The downside is I cannot control those dang roosters, so I apologize.